Hey everyone, this is Lisa and Nancy, and we are sitting in the Inn of Governors in downtown Santa Fe, very historic plaza area. You can walk around. There's galleries, there's museums, there's art, there's music, there's margaritas,
and
right?
Food.
And food. So the
Good
Inn of
food.
Governors, we've stayed here for 2 nights now and had a wonderful stay, and we're here with Sam Gerberding, and Sam is the GM, right, Sam?
You are correct.
Okay, so did we behave? That's the important thing, that our listeners know we behaved.
Absolutely.
We did.
I've had no reports from kicking you out of the bar down to destroying the room. You certainly, if you're rock stars, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
you
good.
haven't gone upstairs yet, have you?
No, not yet. No.
No, I'm kidding. So, the Inn of Governors, you've also got Del Charo restaurant here on site.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to go back, and I want everyone to know about the experience here. But I really want to start with the history of this, because this was a place where the governors stayed, but then the history goes, way beyond that.
It really does. The name itself comes from really a head nod to the pueblos around us, and each of them having different governors, which is what the Palace of the Governors is ultimately acknowledging, as well as years of governors being there. But really, it's speaking to the tradition of the Native American groups around us. From there, yes, we've had governors stay with us directly. The history itself comes from the fact that it was a cave at one point that they kept the ice in during the summer season that came down from the mountains. That kept it cool well before there was proper refrigeration, and then that ice was distributed through the community. From there, of course, that cave-like space became livery stables for horses, and then evolved into underground areas where they could work on cars because they naturally could put the car above them. That evolved into a car dealership owned by the Clausen family, who still owns the land that we're on. And then eventually, in 1965, the owner of the hotel who helped build it recognized this would be a great location for a hotel, spoke to the Clausen family, made an arrangement, and started building the hotel. So by 65, the Governors was up and running on the land that had been owned by the Clausen family for a long time, and still is.
Wow. And it's got the vibe from back then too. You've kept that. It feels almost lodge style. For us, when we walked in here, we felt like we were back in South Africa for some reason.
Instantly comfortable.
No, thank you for that. A big part of our intention is that when we make a change, you wouldn't notice the change. Even if we structurally change something outside of respecting the historical boards within Santa Fe, we try very hard to have it be just a quiet, natural evolution of the feel we've had for a long time. So, and then what you speak to, and forgive me if I've never been to South Africa, but I know that there's been a strong European influence in some of the things. And so part of what we've recognized over the years from what people have told us is we have a Santa Fe feel, but we also have a little bit of a European feel, and that's also driven some of our decisions over the years.
And because the flowers, all the flower boxes, when you go in the upstairs rooms on the outside, having those rows of flowers, that's European-like to me. Those are so beautiful.
That just makes you feel really at home, and it just says, I care. That's the flowers, because it takes extra work.
Well, thanks for that, too. One of my points of pride is that when we try to have a certain way of doing things, and you actually pick up on that, which is our goal. In fact, our tagline, if you will, is your home in the heart of Santa Fe. So we have a vision and a mission statement, all of that, and though they matter, they're almost irrelevant because every decision we make comes from your home in the heart of Santa Fe. Flower boxes being one of them.
That's nice.
For being built as a motor coach hotel in the 60s, and realizing that Santa Fe became more than just a little spot people stopped on, we wanted to dress up the place, and those flower boxes came from that desire, and the desire to feel like you're home is what helped create that particular
And I
look.
like those sculptures too that you have outside.
Oh, the wind sculptures, absolutely.
Well, they let you know where the hotel is when you're driving. It's like, where's the entrance?
Yeah,
there it is.
It's right there. It's like, come on in.
That's my icon, Well, it's, in Santa Fe, they say the city different. It really is, All of a sudden you get off of the interstate or the highway, and next thing you're in this complete different world. This is our first time. We've spent 2 nights in Santa Fe, and coming down in the downtown district, this historic district, I mean, the architecture changes. It's all that iconic, the Adobe style that you see in books and magazines, and it's like, it's a real, So it's just this completely, it's a different experience. It's beautiful.
Busy. It's very busy.
It's vibrant, yeah.
Everything just says calm.
Yeah. Relaxed. Yet it's bustling. People are doing things, but it's relaxed. And when you pull in, you see the flowers, you come into your lobby area, and then you could just take a couple more steps and have margaritas at the Del Charo.
That's right.
At your restaurant.
Yeah, thank you. We're trying to cover all those bases.
I know. We like that. Well, so the sherry hour, let's talk about that. Because
I love that.
From 4 to 5, you get to have sherry hour. And that was what we did. We got in, we checked in, we went to the George O'Keeffe Museum, we went to lunch, and we checked in, got our luggage upstairs, and we'd been driving and been going since 3 in the morning. And we're like, there's sherry downstairs and cookies. Well, we know what we're doing. It's going to rain. We can't go run around now. We need to go do that. And it was so nice because everybody sat together. We made new friends. And we ended up, hanging out in the restaurant for a few hours with them. And it just turned into this event.
But that, again, is very European or British.
Yeah,
that
sherry hour,
sherry hour. And that's something we got used to when we were outside of this country. So it was kind of nice to.
Thank you. That speaks back to the intent and also the feedback we'd received from guests over the years was that we felt a little bit like a European inn as well as a Santa Fe place. And so about the mid-90s is when wine hours were occurring around the U.S. and hotels. They were adopting this tradition.
Good one.
And as the GM at the time and the owner started exploring bringing that on board, they took that idea, but what would it be like in Europe? And that's when research showed that sherry hour really could work well for us. I like to joke that our Teen Sherry Hour kind of brings together the different parts of the New Mexico experience. You have the bizcochito cookies, which is a state cookie of New Mexico, bringing together sort of some of the cooking techniques that evolved in New Mexico for a long time, brought together with the hornos and the way they did that. And now, of course, it's moved into a more official concept. But we have tea, which is, of course, jokingly acknowledging the British influence and the English influence. And then, of course, the sherry, which is from Spain, acknowledges the Spanish influence. So it's really, we've got the New Mexico aspect with the cookies, the Spanish sherry, the English tea concept. And then, but really more importantly, like you spoke to, it provides a moment where people, whether they've traveled all day long and just need a respite, or they spent all day experiencing Santa Fe, enjoying it, and again, they just need to pause in their day. And then I love hosting Teen Sherry because I watch what you explained. I watch people who've never met in their entire lives coming together from different countries, different backgrounds, sometimes even different political and religious views, having a moment where they're together and fostering those relationships. And so if you had that experience, that makes me particularly happy because that's what I love about Teen Sherry.
It was cool because we all ended up at breakfast together at the same time. It was us two and then two other couples. None of us knew each other. And then that was, we ended up having dinner together. And then we went to breakfast, and we just all ended up at the same time.
Yeah, we all walked in, and somehow we all got the giggles.
I know. I don't know.
We're like, okay.
I don't know. There is something about meeting people on the road that somehow you tell them things that you wouldn't really tell anybody.
I know.
Maybe the anonymity at times, or the fact that you can walk away.
I know, except for...
I never thought of that, but yes.
It's funny.
Until people ask what we did, we're like, well, we kind of write a magazine. Oh, what's it called? Well, did we behave ourselves? No.
I don't know, because the giggles meant something.
Yeah, and then breakfast here, that's something I really want to talk about because you really lay out a full breakfast, and you have more than half an hour to get it.
Yes.
From 6:30 to 9:30, right?
You are correct. And weekends even till 10:30.
Oh wow. I mean, you get eggs, and you've got your meats, you've got the the pastries and French toast, and I mean everything.
And don't forget bacon.
Oh, of course. Nancy's very happy about that. The bacon. But it's a full restaurant, so you can get lunch, dinner, everything here.
That is correct. The breakfast, I guess we have a simple concept, which is just to make it simple for you. Our idea is to not make you feel nickeled and dimed. So I know most people want to eat breakfast when they wake up, or at least have a cup of coffee and a snack. Likewise, we also know most people have cars, so why make it hard? Let's have a good breakfast for you when you wake up, and let's have parking be free, because then it's we know you need those things, and so why make it complicated for you, and why charge you more for it? And then the other part is we kind of feel like when we go out in the community and do catering for special events, we believe if you're going to show up.
Right.
So our breakfast is a full breakfast, albeit a buffet, but like you said, eggs, bacon, we have some healthy options with yogurt and that. But again, we know you've got to go out and have a big day in Santa Fe. Let's start you off right.
You know, and that was interesting because when we were talking to the other couples, they were talking about their experience and how they booked here, and they booked online, and they're like, well, we got a credit. And I'm like, well, they got dinner credit. And I'm like, okay, good for you. And so but that's something they were talking about, and I think that this is a very comfortable place, but very well appointed, yet at the same time, you manage to be family friendly, and I think things like free parking and having breakfast and having a restaurant right on site that has good food, everybody, a real, really good food. I know when kids want food, you got to provide. So I think that's a big deal for them.
Thank you. I think it works well for everybody, but in particular, families. I mean, I don't know if you have children, but I had two young sons. They're grown up now, but I remember when I traveled, it was like, oh my gosh, please don't make this hard. I mean,
it's like,
as much as I love them,
it's like,
they were tricky. And so exactly, it's like I only went to restaurants where I'd show up and they'd bring food to the table right away, and the server knew, let's keep the kids happy. Kids equate to happy parents. So the pool works to that regard. It's heated and warm so they can swim year round. We all know that a kid that swims actually might go to sleep at a decent hour. We want they're fed and tired. That's a good combination.
See, sherry time. Okay, every time I take a sip of sherry, you do a lap.
Exactly. So that's thanks for noticing that. That we've tried again, just make it a casual yet elegant experience for everyone. But a family can come, and also our atmosphere that we've created doesn't make the family feel like their kids have to be at the library. Of course, we are hoping kids don't terrorize the place, but we certainly want the kid to be a kid and let the parent watch their kid have a great experience. So thank you for observing that as well.
And the rooms are good for families.
You've got
sizable.
You've got a TV. You got computer, Wi-Fi. Your Wi-Fi works really well.
Really good.
Oh,
we're really thinking about that.
That's one of my ongoing, love-hate relationships.
Yes.
So thank you for saying that.
I know, we're like, both of us like, do we have to check out? No, we got internet.
Really.
But the beds are comfortable, but the room we stayed in had a double queen and suite, and it looked like you could book the room next to it.
You can, thank you. We have some smaller rooms that of course are for the travelers that maybe just have to be more economy minded. The rest of the things stay with it, like breakfast and that. But where you're in is our governor's wing, which makes sense, being in of the governors.
We can be governesses.
And yes, you can. And we have, so those rooms are great for families because they have a balcony, they have a little more space so the kids can hang out. Some of the larger rooms also have couches that can pull out. So yes, they work well, and you're right. Some of the rooms over there, not all, but they adjoin to and have connecting doors so that, again, if you can afford it and want to really splurge on your vacation, you can put the kids in the other room and then you can be next door as parents and such. Yes.
You can have family reunions here too.
We do a fair amount of those. That's worked really well for us. Again, that cozy little intimate space for families.
Okay, so I always like to ask this question because you're the general manager, Santa Fe. So you're gonna come and check in. Okay, I know you're like, really? I'm gonna come back to the hotel that I spend every day in, right? But you're gonna have a weekend off in Santa Fe. What are you gonna do?
Oh, that's a great question.
Just to really enjoy it.
I do need to say first that I feel I'm one of the a very lucky person, let alone hotelier, that I've somehow found a job that I love.
Nice.
I might have hard days, but at the end of that hard day, it still comes from a place of joy. So I actually have stayed at the hotel, and I love to stay at the hotel.
Cool, see?
And experience what it is, and I get to relax. And oh my goodness. And I have a great team, so I actually truly get to relax. I don't worry.
Oh, nice.
So that being said, when I come to Santa Fe, what do I do? Well, I like the outdoors. So for me, and this is one of Santa Fe's less appreciated aspects, but there are hiking trails and mountain biking trails, and even just our river path, even when the river is a small trickle, it's beautiful and peaceful. So to me, if I were to stay in Santa Fe, of course, I'd go eat. I love the food. I love the range of food.
Oh
There's so
gosh,
much
it's
more
crazy.
than Mexican food here, and it's all good.
Yes.
I mean, the food here starts at good and just goes to great. So I go eat and dine, and then I go for walks, and I enjoy hiking in the trails or going up to the Cross of the Martyrs and looking out across Santa Fe at the sunset. So those are sort of the things I really enjoy. I do, let's say I was going to do a week of staying here, I also would enjoy going to Museum
He just
Hill.
upgraded himself.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Now I've got the adjoining rooms and I'm really settling in. Absolutely. No, Museum Hill is a wonderful place.
Yeah,
The
we just came back
museums
from
in
there.
town.
Oh.
It's a great way. Like, let's say you're only here for a few days and you really don't know when you'll come back. Museum Hill is an incredible snapshot of all the influences that come into the area, and you can really have an understanding of Santa Fe just from that one experience alone. And then from there you can go out and see what those museums are showing you. And I love that part of Santa Fe. I love the historical element with the religion that has influenced the area. Of course, the Pueblos and their influence on the area. So I personally like the historical, cultural side of Santa Fe, and that's also what I would build in to my vacation. I have to acknowledge, of course, Meow Wolf is a wonderful new part of our landscape that I think embellishes what we already had and brought together an element. Even though it's more of a contemporary concept, it speaks to the history of art and the creativity that's in Santa Fe. So I love that. I love our bug museum. I'm getting back to having...
You have a bug museum?
We do. Harold's House of Bugs over in the De Vargas Mall. And I say this from being a guy who has kids and loves to see families.
No, I geek out on things like this.
It's wonderful. I've held a tarantula there, and they're the nicest guys that run it and own it. They just really love what they do. So that's something else. Like, I love seeing that just sort of fun little quirky family things we have. So really, I could go on, but those would be my highlights: Museum Hill, the Bug Museum, Meowwolf, and of course our hiking and biking, and that, because that all plays into the sunsets too. Because I mean, you can't go wrong with the Santa Fe sunset.
You know, it's just it's such a mixed, it's like a world in one city here, really, and that's and even just from the visitors, you're like, oh, where are you from? Well, where are you from? You know, and you hear all these accents, and I'm like, you do. We were having margaritas yesterday at Thunderbird Bar and Grill overlooking the plaza. We want to see. Let's have the plaza experience, and we're listening, to people talk, and we're like kind of eavesdropping just to like. Where are they from?
To figure out the accents.
You have that guessing game of the accents. Like, where are you from? But it really seems like it's this global culture that is created here. But it seems that Santa Fe has also got this, huge history. It's like one of the oldest. Isn't it the oldest
county seat?
Oldest capital.
There's arguments about whether the oldest capital, even the oldest city, depending on how you date things back. But absolutely, it's
but at the same time, it's going. You've still got, hey, we're fresh and new with the. I think the art keeps it new. And
there's a lot of contemporary art, absolutely, and fresh energy because of it.
Yeah, and of course nature. We went while we were here.
And the flowers.
The flowers.
This must be a good place to have a garden.
It really can be. It does take some work and awareness based on our climate, but once you figure that out, there's so much opportunity for beauty.
Well, we went to the botanical garden today.
Oh, good.
This morning, and
really
I'm like,
nice.
Okay, can I just spend the day here? It's beautiful.
So I have to ask you, who helped curate your visit to Santa Fe? Because it sounds like you've done some of the the obvious things, but also kind of known some of the off the beaten path things. Like the botanical garden is not
Well, we're park related, so I think we're doing things a little differently. I went through the City of Santa Fe, the visitor CBB website,
Excellent.
and I'm going, oh my gosh, well, I actually took us a few days to even get back there. Joanne Hudson, working with her in Jordan over
yes.
the CBB,
Mm-hmm.
and she put the itinerary together. And it was, hey, this is what we want to see and do. And then it's like, okay, we have to be realistic. I don't want to be.
Right.
But the garden was something, we went to the botanical gardens because with our Love Your Parks tour, we're assigned by different friends, like, okay, you need to go do gardens across the country. You've got to do the parks across the country. You're going to do this. It's like a treasure hunt. So we did the botanical garden. We went to the Folk Art Museum, the International Folk Art Museum. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That is
That's
amazing.
insane.
Right now they have they normally have those wonderful dioramas with all the such, but they're doing a whole exhibit on the person who collected those and created as well, and it's just I can never say his name. I'm sorry,
and we just came out of there.
Oh, that's
Gerard.
Diome or don't go
Gerard. Okay,
but it's
let's just call him Jerry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a one
I'm glad you went. That is, I love all
That's
these email.
amazing.
That's to me the gem up there.
We went, and the first day we got here, we went to Bandelier. We always make sure to go to our national park units,
Yes.
and it wasn't far from here. An exquisite drive. Bandelier was
it's amazing,
absolutely mind blowing.
I was going to ask if you went there, given the parks.
yeah.
That's a great half day trip.
But you've got Pecos down the road
Yes,
too, and I'm
yes,
like,
indeed.
and you got Fort Union. I'm like,
Tent Rocks. The list goes on.
it's crazy. So we also did the Poe Cultural Center. We went there. They're gonna have one of the largest pottery collections, Native American pottery collections in the world, housed there. And by October, they're working with the Smithsonian to bring that in. It's going to be a huge deal. While we were there, they were actually working on it. So that's pretty big.
That is really big. Speaking of the Smithsonian, to digress a little bit, did you know that the state of New Mexico actually has one of the largest cultural development programs in the country? Larger than the Smithsonian, actually, in terms of the work they do to
take them out. Why don't you?
To maintain and create the history and culture of the state.
Wow.
I just learned that through the Secretary of Cultural Affairs. I might have her name wrong, Deborah, and it is something I didn't know.
Wow.
That in terms of our parks and even the history of the animals that influence the region.
Oh, yes.
I encourage you to look into that because you might find a lot.
That's exciting because I know you've got the Santa Fe Trail. You've got 3 National Historic Trails that come through here. So, and that's the thing. You're right there. You can walk the riverfront. You can walk to the Santa Fe Trail, be on that trail, and the plaza and everything. So, what's the website? Inn of Governors?
Innofthegovernors.com.
Innofthegovernors.com, everyone. So check that out. And thank you so much for allowing us to have a lot of fun.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you had a great experience, and it's an honor to have you.
Thank you.